Good morning, everybody. We are continuing our series on allergies. Plus, I have a couple other special announcements. Let's get started with the show. With my son-in-law, Dr. Devin, and we have an amazing office down there. She is here training all week. She got her foot wet within the Green Bay office and just consuming all the great information, training, studying hard. You guys should be very excited for such a wonderful doc that's going to be joining, once again, our Pensacola office before we get started. So, that being said, we're going to just talk about really quickly. I was doing this morning, I got here nice and early. Actually, no joke. I got here just a little after 5 because obviously most people know I'm an early morning person. And I pulled up and I'm like, there's already cars at the corporate office. And here's some of our workers there, here brands that are working. It's kind of funny because I was like, oh my goodness, we have such an incredible crew that's always put in their time. And all of a sudden I'm like, I come in and I'm like, we couldn't sleep. Figure we come enjoy a place that we actually love being. And that's one thing I'm very proud about. People here at the corporate office, they're here Saturdays and Sundays and doing stuff and contribute to things we're going to talk about in a short time. But the idea is this, it was great seeing everybody this morning. And I popped on our newsletter. And guys, our newsletter is quite incredible. Please do me a favor, scroll all the way to the bottom of the website that we do have, thewellnessway.com, and go to the newsletter. It's a recap of what we do today. Our investigative journalists, which was so great watching Aaron, Lauren, and Betsy, and they just sit there and type away like crazy, writing great things. We're going to continue to add more people to our team. No joke, even Betsy was saying, hey Doc, it's going to be exciting having another teammate, another writer, because our newsletter and our information and our articles get millions of views every single month. It's quite incredible, people watch our information. So thank you guys for always going to our newsletter, watching it till we become a very popular website when it comes to the healthcare realm, which once again, we're just trying to put good information out there and you guys get to decide what you want to read, what you want to see. And that's the nice thing about it. If you ever see our newsletter, you never get spammed. You don't get spammed. We're not trying to sell you anything. We just give you some good information and try to let you choose it till you take control of your health. So it's quite exciting. But one thing that does happen a lot, I didn't realize this until I got Dr. Lucas here right now. Dr. Lucas is one of the major people who actually helps me with Instagram. And I'm surprised how many people watch my stuff and don't realize that we have clinics all over. They're like, Doc, can I see you? I'm like, no, you can't. I'm so swamped busy with the things that we are doing, expanding our wellness ways all over the world. And also, now people say, well, Doc, I've seen you talk about certain patients you take care of. Yes, I even saw a patient this week, but it's not the normal. And the patients that I've seen are this woman who's actually had really bad female hormone problems. I see her twice a year now for a consult. She is adjusted by a wonderful chiropractor in her town, but she had very bad female hormone problems. So I still see and do her labs, and just got her, but her Dutch and her blood thyroid hormone work done. It was fantastic, and she's been seeing me, I don't know, for about 10 years. So the people I take care of have just been seeing me for a long period of time. Now, it's only a handful of people, so it's not like there's a lot of them, but I still love everything clinically. And that's what I tell people. People said to me the other day, I said, Doc, it's pretty exciting to see what you guys have all created. And I say you guys, because it's not just me. It's all these wonderful people. I mean, I couldn't do this without Travis sitting there, okay? Travis, and I'm so proud of Travis and Joshua and Kyle and Eric. They put together our new teaching studio this past week, and we get to launch that on Tuesday, which is exciting. But these guys bust their butt off from morning till night for days on end to do it. As I said, all of us are doing wonderful things. Like Lucas answers probably the majority of our, we're back and forth all day long doing Instagram questions. It's like, because they come in by 10. But I'm surprised how many people actually think like that I'm like the only doctor. I'm like, no, we have hundreds of them, hundreds of practitioners, hundreds of doctors. It's fantastic. And what you can do to find them, okay? People say, do I have to travel to Green Bay to get wellness way care? No, just like I said, Dr. Samantha, she's gonna be down in Pensacola. So do me a favor, go to the website, top right, click find a clinic. See it right there, it's fantastic, click it. There's gonna be, you're gonna see all the stuff. You'll see even Dr. Samantha's bio going up there when she starts there next month and everything. And it's gonna be great. We have all these people, it's fantastic. Dr. Lucas is even here with enjoying the team of all of our wonderful doctors here at Green Bay and stuff. So that being said, it's kind of cool. Just go check out everybody, and it's going to be a wonderful time visiting. And just it's fascinating if you just click on all the websites and see how many people are out there and see how many docs we have. It's quite fascinating. I'm blown away and thankful every day. Okay. Speaking of that, Dr. Lucas, last week I did a post, and it was interesting. And I would say this, and the post was done. I can tell you that Miranda is the main person who just runs my Instagram because she understands what I want to get out there. She's very creative, and then we have the other team that supports her, and we put good stuff out there. And I had some people say, Doc, I actually had some sympathy messages. Now, I thank you for that. I do thank you that you care, but here's what happens this. Thank you, but I don't need it. Now, let me explain what I mean by that, okay? This is not a joke. I literally do this every day that I am in my office physically. So my corporate office and where I live is here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I have the opportunity to travel all over the world. No joke. I was very excited. We actually have I have a meeting next week. It was supposed to be last week, but I had to change it. I apologize for that. But even though, because we have big things going on, I have to meet with a company in Dubai who legitimately wants me to put a clinic in their high rise. They want to fly me over. They want me to speak there. They want me to, because they love all the material. They love my view on female hormones. And they realize that what they spend for healthcare, even in a country that actually supports healthcare a lot differently in the US, they're like, we'd love you to put a clinic. And what I mean by they want to do it. They want to do these things and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool. And then the cool thing is bring that kind of healthcare to their company, because they're a big company. They're a huge company. And so they can afford all this stuff. And the point is this is that comes from, putting out good stuff, doing good things. But on the flip side, this is just me. I tell people I believe in Jesus. That's my belief and stuff like that. But I kind of like the whole concept of yin and yang. You understand? Now, I say that and some Christian people freak out thinking they get all that crap. I'm like, no, the concept of yin and yang, that there's always a balance. There is. If you have 50% people love you, you know what that means? You're gonna have 50% of people that hate you. I mean, I consider myself a pretty cool guy, but it'll surprise you. There's a lot of people who do not like me. There's a lot of people who don't like my message. And on the flip side, there's a lot of people I don't like. I mean, you can be really nice, I still don't like you. You understand? And the reason why I bring this up is the fact that it's like I got some really nice messages, and Lucas will say, hey, Doc, you gotta respond to this one. And it'll be like, Doc, the criticism and the thing and the conflict that you put up with every single day I couldn't handle it. And I was like, hey, just let me do my thing. It's kind of great. I don't worry about it that way. But then I started thinking about it. I want to share something a little bit, personal for you, because here's what happens. And I sat back, and I can honestly tell you, I want to speak to each one of you guys' heart today before we get started with the allergies, and we'll cover allergies. But you got to remember, this also is something that keeps me very focused and keeps me very intent, and actually keeps my stress down. It's not a joke. So when I'm in here in the Green Bay office, and I'm an early morning person, I go stand in front of a saying in my wall, and I look at it. And no joke, and I pray. Actually, I pray. I say, there's a certain prayer. It's not like a, repetitive prayer. I just sit there and I do ask God for the opportunity. I ask God for wisdom, and my prayer differs a little bit that way, but there's very common themes to it that way. But when I do is I stand in front of it, and this is actually a picture of my wall that I look at, and when I'm not home, here's why I travel and I look at. It says right here, take a look. Oh, is it not? Oh, wrong one. Travis is like, hey, see, that's why I saw I'm a wonderful team. Here's a picture of my wall. This is actually a picture at the end of my hallway in Green Bay Clinic. There's only one way to avoid criticism. do nothing, say nothing, and here's a big thing, be nothing. Be nothing. Now, I want to ask you something. You know, if someone, internally, you know if you're doing something that's good for the world, you're doing something good for society. But guess what happens? I always tell people, you know, if you think about this, I'm gonna pose something out to you, a thought that I want you to think about. So when I look at this, I'm like, okay, and I'm looking at my thing. There's only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. So criticism is a part of life. It really is. And we don't teach our children to prepare for it because we say, okay, you got to get along this way. Well, then you're going to do nothing. You're going to have to say nothing. You're going to have to become nothing. And I started thinking about that. I said, you know something? There's a thought that I have that I want you guys to think about that sometimes is a driving factor for what I do. Because I'll be very clear with you guys. I've always been very honest on the show. I don't have to work. I got enough money, I got enough stuff, I could hit the beaches of Hawaii, you could never see me again. So, but then you look at all the massive criticism that you get, how do you do it? But I got a question for you. This is gonna sound like a simple question, but follow me on this, okay? Got a question, here it is. Travis, put it up for a second. What's the names of your great-grandparents? Do you know the names of your great-grandparents? See, even in the studio, some people are like, yes, some people are like, no. And the reason why I ask that is this, do you understand that if your generations had an impact, you'd remember them? You know what's really sad? I think about this. If I were to say the Rockefellers or the Kennedys, or and talking about, you understand that you know more about other people's grandparents or great-parents or history than about your own generations. Do you know? It was not too long ago that a name meant something. That did. Now, if it wasn't for technology, most of you guys probably wouldn't even know your grandparents or great-grandparents if they passed away before you could know them. So it's interesting, and they show that within, and let's say you know your great-grandparents. Do you know your great-grandparents? And I want you to think about this. Do you understand that within a couple generations, you'll be forgotten? So I got a question to you. Pose this question to you right here. Will you be forgotten? Will you be forgotten? See, so when I look at the thing that says there's only one way to avoid criticism, do nothing, say nothing, be nothing, because I want my great-great-great-grandkids to go, man, great-great-great-great-grandpa Flynn, he did something, regardless of the criticism and the things that were there. And it's kind of funny because I think that's why I'm obsessed with this major thing, legacy. So what is it? What is it? See, I want you to think about this. What is legacy? What is something that you really are going to pass down? And I love this, and here's the definition of it, and I love this. And I read this on a weekly basis. Now think about this. Think about legacy. When we invest in something, we do not receive immediate gratification or reap the benefits in the present. Instead, we look to the future. We make decisions today that will impact our tomorrows, and help future generations. See, that's why when we look at things, I know a lot of people say, well, I can barely just get through the day. Then you're going to be forgotten. Now, I know that seems critical, but guess what happens? Think about this. What are you doing right now that will pass down generation to generation? You know, if we look at the things that happen today, we're not taught this anymore. We're not taught that a name means something. We're not taught that, guess what happens? That the legacy, the things that you're doing right now, set up your legacy. And I want you to think about this, and you say, Doc, well, guess what happens? Well, I'm 50 years old, I'm 6 years old. It doesn't matter. There's still things that you can do that are going to impact it. So when I get up every morning, money's good, time is good, I'm under control of my own life. That's why I kind of laugh. I'm like, people say, Doc, well, the stuff you put out, they cancel you. Cool, cancel me. Actually, people realize, I mean, in being this in a very humble way, I'm uncancelable because I have enough money, you can't cancel me, take my money away. I'm not doing anything illegal. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, so the idea is this, is going, I'm obsessed with legacy. So hey, listen, so when I look at my 4 girls, it's like, what am I passing to them? The actions even being on the show is for them. And actually, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, all the doctors, all the people up there. So if you think of it this way, that's why it's kind of exciting. I'm going to share this with the public. We have our seminar, our big seminar come up here in Green Bay. And it's based on legacy. So it's kind of neat. It's in Green Bay. I'm bringing it back to something, and it's quite funny. And if you watch this, it's kind of hilarious. What is the Packers known for? Legacy. What's Vince Lombardi? Do you understand that more people know about Vince Lombardi than their great-great-grandparents if you live in Wisconsin and a Packer fan? They can speak to that. I'm like, you know what something is this? When I look at that thing on the wall, I don't want my great-great-grandkids or things obsessing over something that doesn't have any impact in their life compared to the things that I can contribute to. So May 11th through the 13th, and now we bring in all of our practitioners, all of our doctors, all people that are thinking of becoming a Wellness Way franchise. So you doctors that are watching, you nurses, you MDs, you DCs, all of even you local docs, you can show up, you can come, you can get your tickets over to the right. But then here's what happens this. We're opening up some of the things to the public if you want to come in and help, okay? And it's kind of cool because people say, well, doc, you know, when people say, you know, how can I create a legacy? Guess what happens this? Sometimes you get behind something that guess what happens? That you can be a part of and share and pass down. It's kind of funny because if I were to go through all the doctors and some of the staff that have been with me for a long time, we're all doing this together. I think I've done a wonderful job, and I'm very proud of this, of edifying the greatness that I have around me. See, when I talk about Dr. Lucas and us on Instagram, guess what happens? Some of those great answers you get come from him. And yes, on my page, or all the media team, or all our marketing team, or all our doctors, or all our clinics, or all of this. It's a legacy that's produced that we all pitch in together. And so if you want to come and you're in the public in the Green Bay area, or even Wisconsin area, even our state, and come and help out and do our stuff with us and live life with us and have some fun and contribute, let me know. Because we would definitely, and then we have our, one thing I love is, man, we work hard, but we play hard. Our parties are the best. Our food's the best. This is not a joke. The food that we have organically brought in and everything, we stay congruent with everything we do. You know, it's kind of funny. It's like, no joke. And then we have an awesome tailgate party, don't we? I think that's held. But the cool thing is this, then we have a major formal gala that we're doing. It's going to be quite exciting. Yes, I'm going to look all dapper. I actually haven't even picked out because I gotta look unique. You know what I'm saying? And it's like all the women are going to be wearing ball gowns and dresses and things like that. And no joke. And if you guys are part of the public and want to come to our gala, come and join and see not only the fact that we have amazing people that are trying to, you know, make a big impact in healthcare that don't care about the criticism, that don't care about, you know, people saying negative things. Because with the yin, there's always a yang. Do you say them? And the great thing is when you do a legacy like that, it's kind of fun. So just remember, as we do through this, always remember this. That's a big thing. Let's pop it up real quick. There's only one way to avoid criticism. So I don't care about criticism on Instagram, Facebook. I don't even care about criticism face-to-face. But no one ever does it face-to-face. They're too weak. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. Which led, do you understand, that statement led to me to have the strength to say this right out. I disagree. I disagree. As you guys know, that became a simple, we put together, speaking of people, Erin DeWalton, our lead investigative journalist. And this is before she was even full-time with us. She was working part-time and young. She even moved to Dallas and then moved back with her family because of being part of a legacy that will go on way past both of us. And we're roughly the same age, both of us. Her husband, Christian, is once again, he's a huge part of the company. And they moved back to come to be part of our legacy. And the I Disagree book turned out to be such a success. Within a couple days, it became 24 hours, it became a bestseller. Within 3 days, it became an international bestseller. And we are currently in the whole process right now of launching our second book. And the title is I Still Disagree. And we're adding more things to things that even happened over the last 3 years. More things that I said I disagree that led to, yes, the book will still have all the good hormonal stuff in. But it'll be a thicker book, it'll be more input put in there, and even the experience over the last 3 years, and the immune things that I talked about over the last 3 years that could have really had a better impact on the world than what our current form of governments all over the world did. So, but with that said, the book turned into something great, and then we're gonna do our second book. But then what we're doing now is this year and next year a lot. We're doing I Disagree seminar. The first one is over in the Dakota Lodge over in West St. Paul, which once again is based on our St. Cloud office. The next one after that, then we actually have, where am I going after that? It's somewhere am I going. It's kind of funny, these are in May. And then I'll be in Bismarck, yes, with Dr. Hunter. So the first one's gonna be over in, wait, no, the first one's gonna be in Minneapolis with Dr. Kate and Dr. Jen and their crew that way. Next one's gonna be in Bismarck area. And then the third one is actually going to be right here. As you can see, it changes just a little bit. It's gonna be over in the St. Cloud area, which is part of Minneapolis. So I'm going Minnesota, North Dakota, back to Minnesota within a 3-day span, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of seminars, because what happens is I'm going to be doing the first ever I Disagree seminar, which is going to encompass, yes, I know a lot of women are saying, Doc, I went to the hormone connection seminar and it was life-changing, but my husband needed to be there and then you stopped doing it. Well, I only stopped doing it because I was transforming the company. I was transforming a lot of things business and personal-wise that I need to change and grow and even make them better and bigger and everything I was doing. And so I took some time off from speaking so I could focus on those things. That's called life. There's the old saying, there's seasons in life. Do you ever notice there is no thing that stays the same ever? If you don't believe me, look at your body. If you take care of yourself, it changes. You understand? Everything changes. Culture changes. But you know, there's this, I said, the only constant universe is actually change. God gives us seasons of life. So I had a season of life where I had to do a bunch of things, but now it's a different season. Are there great consistencies that we have? Yeah, but even my company changes. Our care gets better. Our people get bigger. And it's kind of great. So the seminar continues that way. But some exciting news. Here we go with the I Disagree new book called I Still Disagree. We have our new seminars, but then we also have our new I Disagree podcast. Because once again, being a doc for 24 years and trained thousands of doctors and have a ton of doctors, hundreds of doctors that work for us and stuff, and practitioners and offices all over. Remember, there are some things that I've said I disagree with. I disagree even corporately how things are right. I disagree with the masculine and feminine things, obviously, because that's been my biggest thing on hormones. I disagree, once again, how people are led. I disagree with church and stuff like that. And see, that's why I tell people, I said, guys, listen, I believe in Jesus. I can actually tell you my beliefs. I can actually tell you my Christian beliefs in literally 15 seconds. I tell people, I believe in Jesus, I believe it's Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, and everything after that is debatable. Everything after that. That's why you can't get two pastors to agree on anything. You know what I'm saying? Don't believe me? That's why there's 100 different religions out there. But this is what I believe. So I tell people, we're going to say some things, and I did this past week. Look at my personal Facebook. I put out a little bit of a post. I got to see if I can find it really quick. Let me see if I can find the post, because it was kind of cool. Because once again, it's funny how people just, their reactions that way. So here is a simple post I made. And what I want you guys to do as I continue to do things, I want people to share that. See, here's what happens. See, the difference is this. I asked for criticism. You know what's really funny? If you look at the statement that I put out there, I actually do the totally opposite. They said there's only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, or be nothing. So I put statements out there, and I'm like, be critical of me. Say I disagree or I agree. For example, I even shared this. I said, you don't truly know someone till you see how they react when they don't get what they want. Do you agree or disagree? And I loved it. I loved the dialogue between people. And yes, it's a statement, and now the people evaluate on it that way. And I always tell people, I personally believe, this is my personal belief, and I'm not saying that some of my personal beliefs cannot change. See, that's the thing. That's why I laugh about that. That's even growth as an adult. You understand? But the idea is this. Here, I can also tell you from personal experience. And employing hundreds of people and fired a ton too. That's what I tell people. We interviewed this new lady for our student program yesterday. And I just tell people, everybody lies during interviews. Everybody does. They bring you their best. And the example I use is this. I said, ladies, you lie all the time. You say as this, do you know why? Because here's what happens this. You get up in the morning and that's how you look. You don't go to work like that. You don't go to interview like that. You get your hair done. You do everything that way. You change everything about yourself to make yourself presentable, as you call it. But you know what happens this? When people go to the interview, they show the best. And actually in a relationship, they show you the best. But here's what happens this, and I mean all relationships. But it's really funny. I always watch this. I'm big on tell people, you will never know anybody until they are stressed. And a lot of times when people are stressed, especially in a job or personal life, is when they don't get what they want. Do you understand this? Have a 2-year-old, have a 3-year-old, and say no to them. They lose their shit. You know something is this? We have a bunch of 20s and 30 years old that do the same thing. So I tell people, I say, listen, just say no to somebody. And here, give you extreme examples. Let me go to the extreme. I was appalled as a young doctor how much physical abuse there is to women. Physical. And women actually defended this dumb shit. That all of a sudden he's like, well, he only hit me when he got mad, or he only did it when he drank. That's who he really is. Because when you take away those barriers, that's who they are. Because I was like, so I would tell people, that's why people, but see, they like to have excuses. Well, I was just angry. That's who you are. I get angry. I do. I tell people I get angry like 100 times a day. I want to punch somebody in the face, including employees and stuff like that, 100 times a day. Oh, now watch this. You know, a CEO shouldn't talk like that, agree or disagree. I disagree, because I'm fucking being honest with you guys. Wait, here we go. A CEO and a Christian shouldn't swear. I disagree, because you know why? I did this to the Christian community the other day. I see, you know something, it's really funny. You're always critical of people swearing, yet when you get pissed off, guess what they all do? Every one of you guys that say you love Jesus, something gets mad, you're F this and piss on this, and blah, 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 going, ha, ha, ha. At least I'm that way all the time. I be myself. But this is the truth behind it. So that's why when people are critical, I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm trying to get criticism because I want to be something someday. I want to make sure that my great grandkids don't forget who Papa Flynn really was. You know what I'm saying? As Dr. Mitch nicknamed me, he calls me Pops. I'm cool with that. I like that nickname. Call me Pops. I'm good with that. Because I want Pops to be remembered. But I also want Pops to be remembered, once again, for what was created for everybody to benefit from. See, so there's only one way to avoid criticism: do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. I just can't. That's why I'm excited watching people do something. Not sit around and watch things on TV and waste time. I love people who say something. I even love people that go out and say something, and even if they did it wrong, guess what happens? It's okay, at least they did something. You know, it's really funny. I'm not that old. I'm not even in my 50s yet. But a lot of you guys, young guys, don't remember this. But you guys remember, my grandpa had a truck, and it was a brand new truck with no power steering. Did you ever try to sit in that truck and move the, so if you just started my Denali and all of a sudden just started it and turned the wheel, you could turn it one finger. The power steering trucks, when they had no power steering, you could have two hands, you could be a brute, and you can't turn that. But you know the easiest way to turn the wheel is? All you have to do is just start to inch the car forward a little bit. It doesn't have to be that fast. So you have to move forward. That's the same thing in life. Do something. Say something. Otherwise, you know, people don't remember the nice guy. He's a good guy. I don't want to be known as a good guy. I don't. Actually, here Christian people are knowing the Bible, it says, be nice. Even though there's pastors say that. No, be kind. Because I can whoop your ass and hang out with my daughters an hour later. Do you understand? See, so do nothing, say nothing, and you'll be nothing. And that's why in our I Disagree podcast, I'm going to talk about these things. Because it relates to growing a big international company. It relates to relationships, both personal and business, which is really the same. Watch this. There is no such thing as personal and business. It's all personal. Agree or disagree? Everything's personal. Everything is. If I tell you suck at your job, it's personal. Why? Because you personally suck, and that's why it's always bad at my career. No, you suck personally. Because you suck personally because actually it's choices you make. And if you suck at your job, I guarantee you suck at everything else in your life. So it's a personal thing. Well, no, it's work. I can separate those. There is no separation. No, you're wrong. Agree or disagree. See, I'm so excited for I Disagree aspect because that's when we talk about the seminar expanding. Oh, I'll have all the great hormonal stuff that led clinically and some of that. But every aspect of life, from business to personal to what happened in the last 3 years, you know, I always tell people, and I say it in a different way. If I were to ask you, who should make the healthcare decisions for you or your family? You or the government? So here's what happens. If you vote, so everybody says me, See, everybody is. I've met every political realm. I've met every religious aspect. Do you understand? I've asked a Muslim that. I've asked a Christian that. I've asked a Buddhist this. I asked a Jehovah's Witness this. I asked a chiropractor this. I asked a medical doctor this. I've asked socialists this. I've asked Democrats this. I've asked Republicans. And everybody says me. No one says the government. So watch this. I think you're fucking stupid if you vote for people that want to take away your right to choose. Do you agree or disagree? See, and the only people that disagree is people want to defend living tribal. Well, I'm a Democrat, so I'm always going to vote Democrat. Well, you're a moron. You can't live incongruently like that. You don't want the government to make choices for you, but they want to force, but that's the party right now. And I'm not saying it can't shift, but that's the party right now that wants to take your freedom away. Doc, don't talk politically because you lose your audience. Do you understand there's no difference? Politics, personal, business are the same thing. It's really funny because I had some people I fired and got rid of because they didn't want me to speak truth, even within my own company. But they learned. You're watching from the outside. And I mean sincerely. People always say, Doc, you have enough money, you have enough time. Do you know that one of the greatest motivating factors I have to give an FU to all the people that said this can't be done? Yes, it might create a legacy, but boy, Travis, you ever been told something you can't do something? Do you know one of the greatest satisfactions is doing it? Dr. Eby, Dr. Samantha, Dr. Lucas, you ever been said it can't be done? Then when you do it, man, it just feels good. How many of you guys out there have been told something you couldn't do and you did it? It's motivating. That drives me every day. It drives me, Doc, you can't do this. Really? Watch me. So, you can't teach allergies different than what the medical field says and what they say allergies are. Watch me. Watch me. You can't do hormonal stuff and this because, anyway, watch me. Watch me. You understand? But they're going to be critical. They're going to say, you're just a chiropractor. Watch me. Watch me. See, I don't have to say anything. I'll just keep on doing it. And that's why our company has gotten so big, and that's a legacy. On that perspective, let's move into our perspective on allergies. All right. Back for our short perspective on allergies. And the reason why I say short is because I will tell you, I will edify these two amazing doctors, Dr. Jason, Dr. Jeremy, and all the people we have. But the idea is this, they did such a wonderful job of teaching the allergies that I'm like, I got 2 more weeks to teach on this shit. What am I gonna do? I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna teach on. They did such a great job. I taught them so well that they teach it fantastically, and they did some great job. But what I wanna do is give you a little perspective I think is important, because here's what happens with this. Medical research and medical practice never match up. Do you know that on you guys' door now, my video team put that up as a sign. But I want you to think about this. Medical research and medical practice never match up because it has to match up only if there's a massive profitable benefit from it that way. Do you understand? Because I want to show you things, because if you look at some of the things that they study out there, it can massively benefit the population, but it's never pushed because there's no benefit financially for the people that would take away, or it even take away profits from people. You know, I'm going to say this because one thing is this, I had past employees that were fired that were just like this. They were like, you know, you shouldn't be so open with people. I'm like, why not? I actually run my clinics very different than everybody else does them. And I mean, even from a business standpoint. Dr. Samantha, guess what happens? You will know how much the toilet paper costs every time that it's used. Now, why? Because I want to teach her how to be a business owner. I want to teach her costs. Because unlike your kids don't realize, the toilet paper roll just doesn't magically show up in the house all the time. Someone had to buy and pay for it. And when you're a business, here's the strategy of business. You have to have just a little bit more money come in than going out. Otherwise, you close. There's the secret. You know what I'm saying? So if you spend a lot of money on toilet paper, guess what happens? Now, I'm not saying not wipe your butt, but did you ever notice this? If you guys have kids, Do you ever notice that they roll it off like crazy? Evie's got 2 kids. It's like, dude, your butt's not even that big and you have that wad of toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? See, real life, we're going to talk about this stuff. But the idea is this. I manufacture to a T. I'm not a middleman. I manufacture my supplements, and Dr. Zach and I pick the concentration herbs. We pick the purity. We pick everything that way. And I will tell you right now, I could make a ton more money if I went to shitty products. I could. But see, in order for me to actually do what we gotta do, I want the best clinical results, and I don't believe in toxicity, and I don't believe in bad products, and I don't believe in non-whole food forms, and I don't believe in synthetics. So I could make a ton more money as a company, but I won't violate that. I tell people that. Doc, why is your turmeric so expensive compared to all stuff? Because I know what you get. You get a bunch of crap. I can't look at a person and be like, yeah, well, I made an extra $10 in this bottle because I reduced the cost and now all my clinics make more money than this. I can't do it. So my stuff will always be more expensive and my stuff will always taste like crap. And they do. They are freaking horrible. I cringe taking them, and I own the damn company. I think they taste like somebody peed in your jar, you put it in the sun for a week, and then we make you drink it. That's what people say, Doc, can you make it taste better? Yes, I can. They'll just be at a lower quality, a lower value. You won't get the clinical results, but it'll taste better. I'm like, well, okay, don't do that. See, I can't. Because you can't create a legacy. You can't be remembered by cutting corners. Or if you do, you don't want to be remembered for that. See, that's the cool part. So when I say things like, here, watch this, agree or disagree. See, I'm already setting you guys up for the wonderful podcast. And then when will it be held? We'll be starting in June. It's gonna be held. Tuesday nights live at 7 p.m. So it'll be live on YouTube, live on our channel, live on our platform. And when I say medical practice and medical research don't match up, there is a fantastic article. There's a fantastic research that came out of Australia. And here's what happens. We all knew this. This is not like it's anything not known. People like us have been screaming this forever, and here's what it is. Exercise more effective than medicines to manage mental health, study says. Here we go. The University of South Australian Research are calling for exercise to be a mainstay approach for managing depression, as a new study shows that physical activity is what? 1.5 times more effective than counseling or leading medications. Do you understand that it's a $2.5 trillion industry? And all the counselors are, and you watch this. It's like this. Watch, all the counselors just lost their crap. You're telling me exercise better than you? Yep. They are. They are. And here's what happens. I think counseling is stupid anyways. Agree or disagree? Because you ever notice that? When they counsel you, they say, tell me how you feel. Yeah, I know, it's like, even people are, here, watch this. Now, this is different for women, because we're talking about this. And this even being a doc. Man, men should never care about their feelings. See, I don't even care about mine, so why would I ever even care about yours? Because you know what I feel like doing sometimes? Punching some people in the face. So I gotta not care about my feelings. You know what I want to eat this morning? Does anybody know what I really want to eat this morning? You know what sounds really good right now? An egg McMuffin. Doesn't it sound good? See, every guys are like, yeah, it kind of sounds good. It does. I feel like it. I feel that I want to eat that stuff. But you don't want me to go by my feelings. And ladies, you don't want to hear this. Guess what happens? If a pretty girl walks by, you don't want to know your husband to take his feelings that way. And see, every woman just looks at a man will lie to a wife, say, no, honey, that's not true. You liar. And you can be happily married. See, you don't want us to do what we feel, so stop talking about it, guys. Ladies, you can talk about your feelings. It's different from you. There is a difference. And we're going to talk about that in I Just Read podcast. But here's what happens is this. Still counseling, especially just bringing your negative feelings back anyways. How do you feel? And stuff. And I'm like, lucky I never sat for a counselor. If you ever ask me how I feel, I say, I feel like I want to punch you in the face. You understand? Now watch, someone's going to report the FBI that I want to punch some people in the face, or I want to do it to my employees and stuff like that. That happened. And that's why they show up at my house. The FBI not punching somebody. I've never punched. Actually, you know what's really funny? I don't know if you guys ever know this. Be honest with me. Does anybody want to know how many fights I've ever gotten in my life? Do you understand? I've never been into a physical altercation in my life ever. I never backed down from one. But you'd be surprised how many men back down when you don't back down. I stood there. Oh, wait, I take it back. I've been punched in the face once, but I never returned the punch because what happened is it was in high school. My cousin was being bullied and picked on, and we were freshmen by a senior. And all I did was stand in between them. He punched me and I never moved. And guess what happens? There was 3 of them, and they stood back. And usually funny, it was hilarious because 15 years later, that guy reached out for clinical help for his son. And I laughed, and I'm like, it's always funny how God brings around where people that one time, now remember, you're high schoolers. You're all stupid in high school. You're all dumb. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're not that bright, okay? But the idea is this. Is all of a sudden I was like, it was funny, I said, remember that time? He's like, oh my goodness, I forgot all about it. And he said to me, he goes, you never back down. I never raised my hand. I got punched in the face, but I never backed down. So a lot of people don't know that. I will never back down from a fight. I'm not saying I would never end up in a fight. I'm just saying I won't back down. You saying? Think about what I do for a living. You never back down. But the idea is this. When you look at the aspect, it's 1.5 more effective than counseling and medications. Let's go on. The detail of the research was fantastic. It really was. And here's what happens, guys. That's important. That's important to know. Because exercise has a major component to change physiology. Well, doc, why are we talking about this when it comes to allergies? Because you know what? The effect of acute, exhaustive, or moderate intensity exercise on nasal cytokines, aka immune responses, secretions, and clinical symptoms of allergic rhinitis patients. Lo and behold, can you believe it? That if you do a certain level of exercise, the data shows that both exhaustive and moderate intense exercise results in a significant improvement of symptoms of allergic rhinitis. Because why? It enhances the ratio of the immune system, and that's found following acute moderate exercise intensity. We propose that moderate intense exercise is more effective than exhaustive exercise in enhancing immune function for allergic rhinitis patients. So think about that. It's really funny. All of us docs want people to move. Now you got to go back. Now, it's kind of funny because you got to go back and you got to look at what we want to accomplish when it comes to exercise. It's interesting. They did a recent study in Stanford, and I apologize. I should have pulled it up for you, but they did this. They did a research study in Stanford, and they found out they took people, and what they did is they drew their blood after exercise, and now same blood type, same Rh factor, some of that, and they put it in people that didn't exercise. Do you know that the immune responses and other responses of the body, the body that didn't exercise and got the blood of the person that did exercise, the tissue started to respond like the person was exercising? See, because there's neurotransmitters, there's hormones and everything released in that blood that travel to our tissues, tell it to do. So when they drew that blood and put it into there, they saw immune and other physiological and inflammatory markers change when that happens. See, so that's why when we look at the things that we're doing, we need to move. And these things can be to a point where you can see massive benefit in the body. Now, you say, Doc, hold the phone, because you just did a whole series on how exercise can affect people and actually can cause so much inflammation that there's actually damage to their hormonal system. You're right. So can you exercise too much? Sorry, it's supposed to be T-O-O. I still don't even know what a pronoun or a verb and stuff is, so checking my spelling is hilarious. I was doing training the other day, and they wanted me to write down accountability or something. Like, I don't even know how to spell that. You understand? I can tell you every pathway in the body like crazy and study it head to toe that way. Sometimes I can't even spell things. But anyways, too much exercise. Yes, guess what? You got to understand that if you go too intense, because all the exercise people just love me, and all of a sudden, wait, take a look. We see the rest of the research here. Exercise-induced allergies, the role of histamine release. Sometimes you can cause too much inflammation and too much histamine response. That guess what happens? Now here's what I'm going to do. I read the article, and I downloaded the whole article, not just the abstract, and I read the whole thing. And here's one thing, and this is why I personally believe. Now once again, and I want other scientists to debate me on this. Okay? Here's what happens. I'm going to try to walk you through this, just the thought process. The gold standard that medicine always talks about is double-blind placebo-controlled studies. I'm cool with them from their perspective. But also their perspective does this. So watch. So let's just use males, okay? So let's take Travis, let's take Evie, let's take Lucas, let's take me. And we do exercise. Do you understand that what could possibly be allergy-induced exercise, or watch this, show this, Travis, because a lot of people get exercise-induced asthma. What leads to that? I want you to think about this. See, if we all exercise, they said, look at these guys, certain percentage got good, certain percentage got bad, but here's what they don't realize. We're all different. We're all so different. That's why I kind of laugh, because you know why? Watch this. Let's say Travis automatically has a higher immune response, higher IgE levels, higher IgA levels, higher IgG levels, higher T cell levels, and now he exercises. The same exercise could cause him to be inflammatory, more histamine, more things, because he's already pro-inflammatory compared to me, and my body gets a benefit from it. That's why I laugh when they go, well, the double blind, no. Because you have to act like everybody's the same. Well, doc, we fed them all. Yeah, but here's what happens. You want me to throw off every study when it comes to everything when it comes to females? No joke. And no scientist has ever disagreed. They go, well, it's a different perspective. Yes, what the heck do you think the show is called? That's what people say, my doctor said, from his perspective. I'm looking at all perspectives, because watch this. Watch this. When I ever read a female hormone study, and they talk about these kind of things, I would say, what is the mental stress state of that woman compared to the next mental stress state? Are they single? Do they have kids? Are they married? Are they in a happy marriage? Are they in a bad marriage? Do they have a job? Do they don't have a job? Because ladies, let me ask you a question. Every one of you women, once again, would you agree with me, have different stressors in their life that can determine your hormonal things. Right now, you could you could be watching this right now and watching me and going, Dr. Patrick's on fire today, he's amazing, and look over at your husband and go, man, he's a douchebag. And guess what happens? And here's my point. So I'm making you happy watching this, but then you got to deal with this jerk laying next to you. Yet you could wake up right now and be looked up to the man of your dreams. Do you understand that your immune system, your hormonal system, every aspect of your body is different because of those two scenarios? And ladies, you know I'm not joking with you, because a man can totally stress you out, or they can bring you great joy. Your job can stress you out or bring you great joy. Your kids can stress you out or bring you what? Great joy. So I love how that when they try to double-blind study, because they're going to give you a drug or a hormone or even exercise, and think that the variables are all the same. You know, let me give you this. Okay? I'm going to go into my world a little bit. And I think this is a valid thing, but I'm going to discredit it in 2 seconds. Not because it doesn't have credibility, just because there's variables. There's a thing called applied kinesiology, AK. And basically it's using certain things to find certain things. And from the outside it looks kind of weird, but actually there's some science behind it. There's a lot of science behind it. But I can throw off the results in 2 seconds. Ma'am, you're stressed out. Yes. So next time we check you, you're not stressed out. It's going to change the outcome. Even in the natural world. You understand? See, that's the thing. That's when it comes down to when you say, well, what allows a person to get exercise-induced asthma compared to a person that doesn't? Well, here's what happens. You know what I do? Before I'd even make Travis and EB and Lucas or I exercise, I'd draw your blood to see where all your immune system is at. Do you have high T cells? Do you have high IgEs? You can see the loads. And how we exercise and how we do everything has to be dramatically different. You know what I'm saying? But most people do this. Let's just all exercise and see how our bodies respond. And look, well, yeah, because we're all different. Do you understand? You can't apply health markers all the same to everybody in the natural world or medical world. So when people say, there's no science behind this stuff, I'm like going, yeah, and there never will be. Do you understand? Now, can there be patterns? Can there be things like this? But there's always variability. That's why the gold standard for medicine actually really doesn't apply to a great standard to everybody. So your double-blind clinical trials, just because they don't know if it's a sugar pill or know if it's chemical, you forgot to ask them all the things that contribute that could change even the results of what they're taking. Because here, ladies, do you understand there's not one tissue in your body that's not affected by mental stress? Not one. So I don't care if they're studying your liver, your kidneys, your hormones, your brain, your big toe. Mental stress can change it. And I will tell you this. Watch this. Let's give them ready for our new podcast. Ladies, I feel extremely sorry for you because churches, Democrats, most, single family, non-father home people, man, you have more stress than ever because there's more soy boys ever in history because mamas are telling their boys that they're special and they're good. And so they go out to the world and don't do shit. And you guys end up dating and marry these guys. Agree or disagree? Your pastors are just creating women. You say, that's why services are mainly made for women, not for guys. I had a pastor the other day, even this week, called me up and say, how would you teach a man service? I taught him. And guess what happens? He goes, oh. I said, let me do it. He goes, I'm not letting you out of my pulpit. Everybody would leave. And I'm like, no, your soy boys would leave. So that being said, and I would let you know, it's kind of funny. It's kind of hilarious. Actually, there was past women in my organization that would be appalled by my show right now because I speak the truth and it makes them feel bad. See, but like I said, if you go back to what I want to accomplish, guess what happens? You got to there's a yin and yang. 50% of people are going to love the show, 50% are going to hate it. But that's the cool part, guys. If you don't want to criticize, do nothing, say nothing, become nothing. Now, let's move into our product process that way. All right, so last week I covered it because I believe it's so important, and yes, I did get a ton of messages on it that way. But you gotta remember, if you really look at things that can, once again, so let's say that Travis or Evie or Lucas, and I'm usually males because we have Dr. Samantha here, but if she's female, her body's gonna be different. Her loads on our immune system are gonna be different that way. You gotta remember, when you look at some of the products like Nettle, once again, we talked about what's very common right now is allergic rhinitis, seasonal allergies. Actually even can be induced by pathologies like bacteria and viruses and things like that. Gotta remember, the behind it, it's probably one of the most known formulas out there to do what? It's actually, it affects the key receptors, it can bind to them so there's not as many triggers to the histamine response, but also has enzymes that can deal with, and once again, I post this up for you so you can read it yourself because I don't want to read it and so that. But if you look, just even the first sentence, Nettle shows in vitro inhibition of several key inflammatory events that causes symptoms of allergies. Allergies are nothing more than an immune response by your body. Well, guess what happens? Where are the triggers? And once again, and what can we do to help deal with this till we find out what balance? Because now watch, I'm not saying if Travis gets asthma-induced exercise, for him not to exercise. I'm gonna say you're gonna exercise a little less. But then we're gonna work on your immune system and get it normal so that you can raise your intensity up because you need to do it that way. And therefore, we're going to be able to get you to be able to exercise more intensity that way. But if we don't change your immune system and just have you keep at lower level exercise, you'll actually won't even benefit from the high intensity exercise. Now, pull up another article, really key, and I love this one. Nettle affects key receptors. There you go. And if we continue, oh, it's the same article. Or my slides copied instead of do the same one. I had a different article. Okay, we'll just skip that one. But anyways, so right now, so people have been asking Dr. Lucas and I how many messages we get over last week. Said, Doc, I know I got to work on my immune system. I'm gonna get some things done. What can I take in order to actually just have a little bit of relief instead of taking all this medication? Well, Nettle. It's absolutely incredible. And here, all you have to do is do some research on it. It will actually blow your mind away because the major effect it does is giving some of the key constituents that your body can use to deal with those pathogens until you dig a little bit deeper with one of your wellness way practitioners, one of your way docs and things like that to are able to get their immune system back normal. Because Dr. Lucas saw me respond to several people to where it's like, hey doc, I seem to flare up and then I seem to react to everything outside. yes, you have probably some infection inside. And your immune system is very hyper-inflammatory, then something simple as a pollen, something simple as a food comes in, and you blow it up like crazy. So it's going to sound funny. I recommended a stool test for that person that was reacting to outside allergens. Now, can we give them nettle? Absolutely. Can we give them albizia? Absolutely. Can we give them turmeric? Can we do things that have high quercetin and everything's in? And yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. But that is really no different than a drug. A little safer, less side effects. There's only one really big negative side effect from that. You actually have to spend more money. I tell people, I say, listen, taking an herb like taking a drug, your body will not deal with the consequence, but it'll still get sicker. Will not deal with the consequence of having to deal with a chemical. And you do get great relief from nettle and things like that. But if you don't dig deep to the immune system, you're just spending more money. That's all you're doing. Now, from a natural supplement sale process, they hate that I say that. I don't care if they hate that I say that. The natural world, there's just as many natural things there are drugs nowadays, and we're still sicker. Yes, use some of those good things that have less side effects. But the idea is this, dig deep on their immune system. Otherwise, Travis, EB, all these are going to have, no, they don't have it. They just have the problems that would have for athletically induced asthma because their immune system is so inflammatory. Now they do something that's inflammatory, even like good stuff like exercise, because you do inflame up when you do exercise if you're doing it intense enough, but their body can't handle the overfull bucket of inflammation. So, nettle, fantastic, it's important. That being said, let's go into my last 10%. Once again, guys, take a look at this statement. Let's read it together. There's only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. I can't. I stand in front of that every time I'm here in Green Bay, every single day, every day, every day. When I'm traveling, it's one of the first things I pop up on my phone. And then, believe it or not, I pray. I pray for wisdom. I pray for God to open the doors, opportunities, everything like that. And guess what happens? You'd be surprised. I always tell people, be careful what you ask for. Because here's what happens when you ask for things like that. To give you an example, let me show you something that just seems very weird. I pray for an opportunity that God puts sick people in my life, and I did my whole career. And then, believe it or not, I built everything in my practice when I was seeing patients full time. I never did 1 ounce of advertising. Not once. Not once. People see me now all over. I did none of this when I was in clinical practice. And I was jammed morning till night. I never took breaks during the day. My schedule was never not busy, not slammed. But here's what happens this. Then I want you to picture this. That all of a sudden this female came in, tried to massively have a baby and couldn't. All the medical procedures, everything. So they went the other way first. Then they came to us and there was success. That experience no one will ever take away from those parents. So they will go share it with somebody else. Do you guys understand that 90% of people that they tell what happened, they reject? And then worse yet, you'll actually have people criticize what they did, they'll criticize me. But doc, you're doing things that are good. Yes, but when there's a yin, there's a yang. There's people that will despise it. Despise absolutely everything about that way. So that's why when I tell people, be careful what you ask for. Because you have to be prepared for criticism. I enjoy it. I really do. Actually, if I'm not getting criticized enough, I get a little worried. Because I'm like, that means am I saying enough? Am I doing enough? Am I being enough? Because you could literally change the world and half the people would bitch about it in a positive way. Not to bitch and change the world in a positive way and half the people would bitch about it. You know, you meet these people. You could say the most glorious things, they find something wrong. You know, it's quite interesting. So what I want you guys to do is this. As I'm continuing to do my thing, I want you to find your thing. And if you can't find something, then join somebody that's doing something great. Because everybody that I know wants to be part of something. I personally, you're going to see in the upcoming things, and wait till the I Disagree podcast, I'll be totally vulnerable with you. You say on every area of my life. I could walk away. I could shut this computer down and never come back again. and no one ever see me, and I could live a life that people dream of financially and all that and be done with everything that way. But you know what happens to this, guys? I mean it sincerely. About 2 days later, I'd be massively bored. And most people are. That's why I have to run to distractions like sports, like things that occupy their mind, because they're not contributing to something that has purpose. Find a purpose. And if you can't create one, then join somebody else's. Join ours. Because you know why? It's fun. It really is. It's fun once you learn what criticism is. It's fun when you actually see the clinical results that come. It's fun watching a doctor open up their office and thrive like crazy. There's a lot of fun parts. But with the fun, there's also the bad parts. There's always a yin, there's always a yang. But I even spun that around. And I think the most successful people in the world are problem solvers. So I like the non-fun parts. Doesn't mean I don't want to hypothetically punch somebody in the face. You know what I'm saying? I'm a guy. That's okay. But I never do what I feel. Because if I did what I felt, we're going to leave here, we're going to get some McDonald's, we're going to stop by Dunkin' Donuts, lunch is Taco Bell, then we're going to run over to something else, Pizza Hut probably. Oh, Pizza Hut, doesn't that sound damn good? We're going to get Pizza Hut pizza, we're going to sit on our butt and watch a movie. But after about a couple months, broke, fat, no friends, things like that. And that's not a life I want to live. But there's a lot of people that do live that life. Do you want to follow someone like them or follow someone like me? All right? Agree or disagree? We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single video or live stream. Each week on A Different Perspective, we bring you the most cutting-edge information on health you won't find anywhere else. For more information on this topic, please visit our website. A Different Perspective offers life-changing information and resources to share and explore. A Different Perspective is leading a health revolution.